Ever get that feeling like, when you were in school and you just knew the teachers were talking about you in the staff room?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you hoped it was good stuff.
Right.
But there was always that little voice kind of say, like, what if it isn't, though? What if they're, like, complaining about me?
Yeah.
Well, turns out sometimes those whispers, they're not so flattering.
Yeah.
And for some students over in the UK at this school called Newhouse Academy, that fear, it kind of became reality.
Oh, wow.
So today we're going deep on this news story about a recording that kind of blew the lid off some pretty shocking teacher behavior.
Yeah.
And I think it tells us a lot about
Yeah.
what really goes on, like, behind the scenes in schools, the stuff we don't always see.
Absolutely.
So we got this wild situation. A student's phone gets confiscated, right?
Okay.
But it's still recording. And it ends up capturing, like, hours of teacher conversations.
Oh, wow.
And to put it lightly, some of the language they used,
Yeah.
not exactly what you call professional.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's concerning to say the least.
Yeah, so, like, we're talking teachers using terms like, silly witch, knobhead, bellend.
Oh, my goodness.
And these weren't just, like, random insults thrown around. They were directed at specific students.
So they were talking about students like that?
Yeah, like calling them out by name.
That's,
I know.
That's
awful.
It really makes you wonder, like, how often does this kind of thing actually happen?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but I
Yeah.
think what's so interesting about this is it gives us a glimpse into something we don't normally see.
Right.
Schools are very structured places,
Totally.
right? There's a very specific way they're supposed to run.
Yeah.
But this incident shows us there's a big difference between, like, the image schools present to the world
Uh-huh.
and what might actually be going on behind closed doors, like this polished facade, versus how some teachers might actually be talking about students when they think no one's listening. Yeah, it's like we all have those moments where we let our guard down. But when you're a teacher, you're in a position of authority.
Absolutely.
Like, your words have extra weight.
Exactly.
So to hear teachers using that kind of language,
Yeah.
it's especially disturbing,
It really is.
Like, what kind of impact do you think this could have on the students involved?
I think it could be incredibly damaging, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, to hear those words from people who are supposed to be, like, mentors and role models.
Right.
It can really mess with the kids' self-esteem,
Absolutely.
Like, make them feel like they don't belong.
Yeah.
And it definitely creates a hostile learning environment.
Yeah, it makes it hard to trust the people who are supposed to be there for you.
Exactly.
Now, to the school's credit,
Yeah.
they didn't try to sweep this whole thing under the rug.
Okay.
The head teacher, Alex Burnham, he sent a letter to all the parents
Oh, wow.
acknowledging what happened and promising to take action.
Okay, so he owned up to it.
He did,
It's good.
and even used some pretty strong language himself, calling out the teacher's behavior.
Oh, interesting.
Like, straight up said their comments were inappropriate.
Okay, so he wasn't afraid to use, like, strong wording.
Oh, he was very direct.
Wow. How do you think the parents reacted to that?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there were mixed reactions.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of parents probably appreciated the honesty.
Right, that transparency.
Yeah, like at least they knew the school was taking it seriously.
Right, not just trying to downplay it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in the letter, Burnham mentions this thing called restorative work
Okay.
as part of how they're going to deal with this whole mess.
So what exactly is that?
Well, it's basically an approach that focuses on, like, repairing the harm that's been done
Okay.
and rebuilding relationships.
So, like, trying to heal things rather than just punish people?
Exactly.
Okay.
So in this case, it could involve the teachers, taking responsibility for their words,
Right.
actually apologizing to the students they hurt, and maybe even doing some, like, dialogue sessions or something
Oh, interesting.
to try and build some empathy and understanding.
So it's like acknowledging that words have power
Yes.
and that there needs to be some kind of healing process.
Exactly.
Okay, but do you think that's enough? Like, can you really just talk away that kind of hurt?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it depends.
I'm like, what?
Well, like, how sincere the teachers are.
Right.
If they're just going through the motions, it's not going to be very effective.
Yeah, it has to be genuine.
Right.
And what about the school itself?
What do you mean?
Like, are they actually committed to creating a culture of respect?
Yeah, that's key.
Like, it can't just be a one-time thing, right?
Totally.
They need to be making ongoing efforts to address this kind of behavior.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's a step in the right direction,
Yeah.
but it's just the beginning.
I agree. I think this whole thing really makes you think about, like, what leads teachers to talk about their students this way in the first place.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Well-
Like, I remember this one time back when I was teaching,
Wow.
I overheard some teachers gossiping about a student,
Yeah.
and it just, like, rubbed me the wrong way.
Right.
It made me question their professionalism, you know?
Totally.
Like, are they really here for the kids, or are they just, like, gossiping and complaining?
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to witness.
It is. And I think this incident really highlights those power dynamics that exist in schools.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, teachers have this authority,
Right.
and their words carry a lot of weight, whether they intend them to or not.
Exactly. And I think it's important for teachers to realize that even casual conversations
Yeah.
can have a huge impact on their students.
Oh, sure.
Like, even if they think they're just venting or something,
Uh-huh.
those words can stick with a kid
Right.
and really affect how they see themselves.
And this whole thing, it also makes you think about the role of technology, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, smartphones are everywhere these days.
Ubiquitous.
Right. And they can easily record conversations.
Oh, yeah, even accidentally.
Exactly. So,
It makes you wonder if teachers are more careful now, like knowing that anything they say could be recorded,
right.
or if they've just gotten better at like hiding their true feelings.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I think the fact that recording devices are so common
Mm-hmm.
probably does make some teachers think twice.
Right.
Like they know they could be caught saying something inappropriate.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't think it's going to fundamentally change someone's deeply held beliefs or biases.
Right.
Like if a teacher truly doesn't respect their students,
Uh-huh.
they're going to find ways to express those feelings.
Yeah, maybe just more subtly.
Exactly.
So it's not like a technological fix. It's more about creating a culture of respect
Totally.
where everyone feels valued,
I agree.
whether someone's recording or not.
Exactly.
So, like, big picture.
Yeah.
What are the main takeaways for you from this whole incident?
Well, I think it's a really stark reminder that schools, even though they're supposed to be these safe havens,
Uh-huh.
they're not immune to the problems of the wider world. Like,
Yeah.
they reflect our society's flaws and complexities.
Right.
And it also shows us how important it is to deal with systemic issues.
Yeah.
Like teacher burnout,
Yeah.
lack of support,
Uh-huh.
inadequate training, because those things can contribute to negative behavior.
Absolutely.
Like when teachers are stressed and overwhelmed,
Yeah.
it's easier to lash out.
Right. And that can affect how they treat their students.
Exactly.
So this whole situation,
Yeah.
it really makes me wonder, how much do you think teacher attitudes and language really impact a student's learning experience?
That's a huge question.
It is.
I mean, I think it's something everyone should be thinking about,
Yeah.
whether you're a student, a parent, or an educator.
Yeah.
Because it reminds us that we all have a role to play
Uh-huh.
in creating these positive and respectful learning environments.
And that our words have power.
Absolutely.
All right. That's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
But that's a question worth pondering, you know. How much do teacher attitudes and language really impact a student's learning experience?
Yeah, it's something to think about.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.